weeks later.
Ward at the First Commissioner Court Office.
Please join us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The meeting will please come to order. We do have to post in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall have 5 minutes. You want to do that or do it under burn ban?
I can do it under burn ban, it's
Okay.
fine.
Anyone? If not, we'll go to item number 1, which is burn ban. Would you like to talk to us about what's going on?
I would. All right, so I'm not recommending it coming off by any means. It is very dry out there. I went over to dispatch this morning and spoke with Keith over there. We've had, since we put in the burn ban on the 21st, 64 grass fires. That is more than one a day. So I've been asked by a few of the fire chiefs and different things, possibly looking at doing a wildfire disaster declaration for the county. That would open up doing some funding for the fire departments as far as getting trucks and repaired, possible fuel reimbursements and stuff like that as well. That is off the recommendation of several of the fire chiefs in the county. So I think it'd be a good idea to see about if we can do it. Because like I said, it does open up some funding for the county that we might be able to recoup what we're
Fuel's a big
spending.
deal.
Sir?
Fuel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's added
We're doing a lot of it. I know we had yesterday, 3:30, we had a 64-acre grass fire in Wortham. Commissioner Ridge came out, brought his maintainer, and Forestry Service guy said if he wouldn't have brought his maintainer out there, then we'd have been fighting it in the city. So that maintainer saved us quite a bit out there. So that being said, like I said, off their recommendation of mine, see if possibly doing a disaster declaration or something.
I'll read the requirements for
Yes,
that
ma'am.
and see if we can get it done without it being on the agenda. If we have to put it
Yes,
on
ma'am.
the agenda, then I guess we'll have a special meeting for it, but
Yes, ma'am.
maybe we can do it without that if that's agreeable.
Great.
Look at that, okay.
Um,
Do you think the ban on the fireworks helped any?
I do. We did not, as far as I know, from what I listened to, we did not have any firework-related grass fires of any substantial amount. We might have had 1 or 2, but they were small in nature, nothing substantial that we had to worry about. Just from what I've seen, I didn't hardly see any, other than the fireworks shows that were put on either by the cities or professionals. I didn't see anything outside of that, people popping fireworks. So I think it helped. I did.
It is right. All right. I'm assuming on everyone, there's no action on that. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
today.
Thank you.
We'll go to item number 2, budget transfers and amendments.
motion to approve budget transfers and amendments.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Right.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is the credit application for the Mustang Category 1.
We just received, Andy has requested, he's wanting to go to Bryan College Station to get a motor grader repair because it was a lower bid. And so they're requesting us to fill out this credit app, so we just need to get that approved.
I'll make it motion. I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed, none, motion carried. Item number 4, classification of the election administrator. We did have a meeting after Commissioner's Court this last time, and the lady from TAC that came to present to us, talked to us about the duties of the election administrator, and she said according to what the duties are, and that there is only one employee in that office, that she really was not, did not qualify to be exempt, that's the one, yes. So, based on that, I think we need to change her to a regular employee, not an exempt employee. Because if she doesn't qualify, then later on, she can come back and want that. And we did talk to her too about the fact that here we are, she's gotten some comp time, and we didn't really do it correctly. And she said that she didn't feel like it would be, if we corrected it now, there wouldn't be an issue.
So you need a motion to correct it.
Motion to correct, that'd be a good one.
I'll make it.
Or a motion to change the classification.
Yeah.
To
To non-exempt.
non-exempt. And that was the motion to change. We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
You second?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Item number 5, ARPA funds. Have we gotten in the information on the ambulances as far as how much they are going to cost?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're $260 and within $600, $600 apart from each other,
All right.
but they're about $260,000.
Okay. I know that was more than what we originally thought. We will allocate to that. Is there any problem with going ahead with what we have on the Bible?
I don't have a problem.
We just thought we needed to run that by before we went further.
Can we make that motion? Can somebody make a motion and second it?
Motion and second to.
No time, more money, right? I'll make it motion.
What is the motion? Now, let's say it so that we can have a motion.
To purchase 2 ambulances through the HGAC in the amount of $260,000.
Approximately 260.
Approximately $260,000.
That's what the motion is. Each. And that's your motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Do you have anything else on the,
Not yet, I'm waiting on the sheriff's vehicles
okay.
to come back.
I have on ARPA funds as far as generators goes. I can't remember if I sent the text to your office to bring it over. I'll get it in place Friday afternoon.
Let's see, I have looked at it, it's not in here.
Basically, the report is back for each building.
The size of the generator is what it's talking
Yes,
about.
which details the size of the generator, the square feet of each building. Looks like there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the buildings have natural gas there, so we won't have to have a propane tank. 2 of the buildings being the Fairfield, the senior center in Fairfield, and 8th Avenue Church in Teague, which finally did agree to generator for both that's gonna get into what the company that we're bid, as far as what that's gonna entail. That's gonna change up size-wise. So the size that was quoted here was based off of, just the kilowatts, so.
Is T in there for a new generator? Because they're okay with their generator without, they need air.
Yes, no.
And I didn't know whether, I got in the middle of all this, and I didn't know what it had talked about before I got here.
What we discussed was that they keep the same generator that they got at the fire department, and then we were wanting to do that as a refill station.
Yeah,
I
they
believe.
refilled it. Yeah, they were having trouble with it.
Yeah.
They
And that would
really
be-
needed that worse than.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know whether y'all knew about that.
That's-
I talked to them about it, I didn't know what had been said prior to you. Okay, good, I just want to make sure.
So basically, I will get that so that y'all can print it off.
Yeah, and Karen can get it to Grant Works.
Yes.
Also, the information on the one for the jail. The generator for the jail.
Okay. I got a picture of it.
And I know our generator guy has repeatedly told us that we need to move away from that natural gas because during the cold weather, it doesn't work properly. And then there's some, for whatever reason, a draft that comes through there blows out that pilot light. So he said it'd be best if we were to move away from that natural gas generator, but that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
We were talking about that thing. All right, and you're talking about the vehicle, so is there anything else that we needed to discuss? We've got the specs for the sheriff's department already on those vehicles.
Right, and I'm just waiting to get back from the vendor, the quotes. So that, I should be getting them maybe today.
And, did you talk to them? I know they mentioned to you that there was only one, this is not the ARP money, but we were waiting on.
Right, one of two's in, one just came in the other day over there,
Not in here.
not here, but to the dealership, so once it gets there, it'll go to the upfitters. The upfitters will then add the equipment on it. Usually with the upfitters, they'll bring it to us. Once they bring it to us, then we put the markings on the siding and then get the vehicle out on the road.
So that's why there's only one that we're waiting on.
Right, we ordered two. One came into the dealership, so we're waiting for the other one
Waiting on
somewhere in
one.
production line. And
Anything else on the ARP? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask, how long does it take once you get it to the upfitters?
pardon me?
How long does it take for them to follow up?
Well, I mean, we have a pretty good relationship with Jimmy down there. They do a lot of departments that have 30, 40 vehicles. But Jimmy assured me that he knows that we're very small. So once it gets there, he'll get it on and do it as soon as he can. He can't be specific.
Anything else on the ARPA funds?
Judge Grant,
Jamie?
as the Fire Chiefs Association, I wanted to bring up this little pack right here. It's called a liquid IV, and you put it in a water bottle, and it replenishes electrolytes and hydration. And so the Fire Chiefs Association was wanting to see, since it's kind of a medical thing that you're replenishing, if we could get this under the ARPA funds and distribute it to all of the fire departments equally. And the Fire Chiefs Association has just asked that we include EMS on that because they're out on calls too. And, you know, I don't, however, you know, y'all feel led if, road and bridge, law enforcement, but they come to, we got on the website this morning, we looked on Amazon, but we got on the Liquid IV's website this morning, and their largest is 96 packs for $120, which is about $1.25 a pack. And so we were just wanting to see if Commissioner's Court would be willing to buy this. We had a personnel on the Fairfield Volunteer Fire Department that liked to went out on Thursdays on 84. And so it just so happened Tig had a couple of Gatorades on board that we were able to give him real quick to try to, you know.
And at the this morning, I think we could go ahead and get a purchase order some now, but see if that would fit within our ARPA funds, and then we could get some through that also, but.
I'll confirm that today.
The ARPA funds or the?
The funds, I'll.
Okay, but I think we, rather than waiting for the ARPA funds to work, is what I'm
Right.
saying, we could go ahead and get a purchase order
We
this
still
morning.
got that money, that line, fire line, I don't know.
We have some.
We do.
The fire department appreciates it.
Well, we appreciate them, we might always want to be safe, and appreciate all they do. Can't say enough about how much we do appreciate what y'all do, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else on ARPA funds?
I did find out that the sheriff's vehicles, they told me that, that the quickest we could order would be January, the 23s were cut off. And that, we could probably have them by the end of the year, those 4. So, anyway, but Chief Mallory told me that we could order a black, in black color. He said that they seem to be able to get that quicker. That's the first on the line. And so, we could, if they're wanting to, which he told me to see about
We
that.
said pink at this point.
I was just gonna say, the trucks at Road and Bridge don't match, I don't know why I'm sure they're gonna
Right, right, but I mean,
I'd be good for it not to match.
I can tell mine from y'all because mine was in the shop. And mine was a different color than y'all's. We had all of us had one in the shop.
Oh, well, out here working on trucks. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else under the ARPA funds? All right, and you'll check about the blacks?
yeah, sure will.
Okay.
Yeah, black and white's usually the first ones off the line. So,
All righty. Budget workshop, does anyone have anything, aside from what, I don't know, the one discussion's gonna be? If not, we had discussed that, different options about what we could, how we could proceed to help the employees since, inflation is so high, gas prices are so high. And we've kind of kicked that around. So if we could make a decision on that, today, that would be,
Okay,
that would help us a lot.
historically, have y'all done a cost of living raise annually, or is that just hit or miss? I'm just curious.
I would
mean,
say
what y'all been doing?
Generally, we have done some type of
Cost, of,
either calling a cost of living.
I mean, that's what I
raise
call
or
it.
a raise, but it's.
You know what I mean, you know, like, you know,
That's what.
a couple percent, or, I mean, I didn't know where that fell in there, I didn't know. Y'all been doing that or not,
We have.
regularly?
There have been a few years
We didn't?
that we did not,
Okay.
but that was
I was just
quite a while
curious.
ago. There have been a few years that we have done raises for employees and not elected officials. You know, just various things, but.
Did we do 2,500 last year?
we did.
2,500 across the board for
Everybody.
employees. What does that come out percent wise? I'm just curious.
Well.
So that's just it, depending on what you're
Depends on
paying.
what you at, you know?
Yeah.
Like say $1 an
We have
hour,
percentage.
$52,080.
Do what now?
$1 an hour for everyone, that'd be $2,080.
Okay. Are we gonna call that, a one-time inflation cost?
Call it $1 an hour raise for everybody.
But I still don't think that's enough to cover
We still have money left on it.
inflation.
My thinking was do something like similar to a cost of living and then, you know, and then have
Supplemental.
supplemental like we were talking, just to keep up with, I know, I don't know, whatever, I don't know why it's gonna crunch out money wise, but that was just what I was thinking.
The only drawback to that is, and I'm I mean, that's fine with me, but the only drawback is people get used to getting whatever they get, and then if we don't give them that supplemental next year, they're already dependent on that, and then now they don't get it.
Right.
So that could cost them.
If we did part of it as a raise and then part of it would be as.
It wouldn't be as bad,
And you gotta keep in mind what you do as a raise,
is there from now on.
It's there,
that's perpetual.
I understand, yeah. Yeah.
It's bad enough we don't know what we're gonna get in this year.
I'm
And
just
we darn
throwing
sure
my
don't know what
thoughts
we'll
out
get
there,
in
but
next year, you
Oh,
know?
I don't know how that crunches out, how many
How much
employees.
money do we have to work with? $1 an hour would be 218,400. So how much do we have to work with above that, if any?
Well, we don't have our final
I understand.
values, but we won't get that until the 25th or later.
What we figured on, 105?
105 at 280, at 2,080 hours a year. Is that right?
I'm not redoing your math, I'm figuring something
No.
$1 an hour comes to what? 218,400?
My figure.
I talked to one of our neighboring counties, and they gave 3,500 across the board for everybody.
Yeah. As a
else. You
raise,
said 218?
or a raise.
218,400.
And then we have to take into account these requests of what they want. I mean, that's shy of 300 on top of what it was last year. I went through every page to see what the difference was. There's a couple of them I can't read, so I just,
Right.
and I just said, I
There
mean,
was a
people
lot.
requesting, I mean, that's minus wages. That's, I did not touch wages. That's just each department was, is shy of 300, is an additional from last year. So I'm just, I don't know that we need, I think we might have wasted my time doing it.
No.
But I want to know,
Sure. Did you look at the wages also?
no, I did not factor wages. That's just, that's on top of, and
But you
wages
can't
will be on
because-
top of that.
Basically, everybody's asking for
Yeah.
something in wages, but they're so
But
different.
I wanted to
from
see
ours.
the difference from last year on the budget, I mean, to get, I don't know, it just made sense to me to see what, I did not factor wages, that's just other requests. 260 is what I come up right at, 260, and there was two of them, I couldn't read precinct two, constable, I don't know what he wants, it was just.
I know, I couldn't read it either on the
There was
original.
another one I was a little confused about, but, and some of that is over here on, some of the jail stuff, the bulk of it's on down, you know, and indigent health, you can't, I mean, that's gonna be what it's gonna be. But I mean, that's a pretty good hunk of it, but, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I mean, you can budget it, but if it's there, you gotta pay it.
Right.
If you really understand.
Whether you budget it or
Right,
not,
right.
yes. And same way with the, like the indigent.
I'm still trying to figure some of this out, too.
Sure.
But that don't take in special funds, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so like road and bridge, when you factor fuel
Yeah,
and tires,
yeah.
it's gonna add a lot to that 300.
Well, yeah.
For us, not to get any more money to work with.
Right,
so
on my
just
request, I
buy
didn't
fuel.
put any more money in total, I did the same money Craig did last year, and what amounted to, oil sand and gravel took the hickey, you know, I didn't have as much left to spend on it.
But we are gonna have some of these ARPA funds that can be used by Road and Bridge, as well as other
Yeah,
requests.
I added stuff, but and then capital for buying equipment, I'm not buying what he bought, and that absorbed some of it, I just worked off the same number.
I looked at some stuff on medical bills and stuff like that, and it appeared that we pay an awful lot of money for our inmates to live here for medical stuff in our jail than we do in Limestone County. I mean, I wonder why it's different.
And a lot of times it's because we're the ones that take them to the doctor before we take them over there.
Y'all take them to the doctor?
Before we take them over there, and then they got the nurse that sees after them after that.
when the medicine costs a lot of difference in medical costs, you know.
Oh, yes, I was talking to Jeannie about that.
So I'm not, I
I
don't
don't
know,
know what that's.
maybe there's a better,
I thought there was a-
better place to get the medicine, meds, I mean, I'm not sure, you know, how they order them over there as opposed to how we do it, 'cause I don't know anything about those, how y'all do that.
I just wish they had more beds over there, it's cheaper to keep them over there than it is here.
In the sense, yes. Not when you're losing people to go over and paying the gas to do it.
All right, what other? Yes.
I thought after the discussion on the pay increase, last week that different offices and different stuff, the number being kicked around was $3,600. And so, what I was looking at, if Andy was talking about the dollar an hour raise, that was 218. If there was another, 1,500 per person put in as a one-time inflation supplement,
Pay monthly.
then
If
that's another 157,000, so it puts it about 376,000.
Somebody fired, some of these offices that are turning over,
Well, but we'll pay it by the month.
about a month, yeah.
By the month. We
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Jenny can set that up, it pays by the month.
And it will change some throughout the year.
Pay period, yeah.
Okay.
We figure out how much a month.
So twenty,
Yeah.
so if you get it in the 1,500, how much money
26 pay period.
That runs your total up about 376,000.
total for a raise?
Plus the equipment.
How much?
375,900.
So it'd be the total of 1,500 per employee divided by the 26.
And there's gonna be employees that quit during the year, that money is gonna not go out because it'll be taken off. So I don't think we'll actually spend that 1,500.
And that's something we need to clarify in the motion is for current employees. If that's what we-
And if the person quits, whatever, then that person that replaces them will not get the 1,500, or will,
Well, that'll need to be in the motion, so.
I know. I'm just asking.
Are you here, you gotta put it in there? Something to do with something. If you do it, I think, and then when we fall in line, right?
Well, if you do that, I mean, if you're gonna budget that much money, that just means you're gonna spend what you're gonna budget.
Yeah, well, it's already budgeted. If we're.
So in that case, would we need to change the pay scale to reflect that? Because right now our pay scale says we have to hire men at the hiring amount, which would be lower than that. So how would that work?
We still have the same hiring.
So if a new person coming in to that position would go lower than that, so that's what I'm asking, would we need to reflect the pay scale to add that in as a hiring
Right now,
amount?
the way it is, whatever raise we get, the people that are working get that raise.
Correct.
But if you hire a new person in, they are hired in at the pay scale. So if we were going to do that, we'd have to change the pay scale.
We don't struggle if we have to stay where we're at. After some of these places right around us got 35, 5,000, 8,000, on top of getting bonuses in the middle of last year in March. So we're not even close to them, we're not gonna be close to them anymore if we don't try to keep up.
You gotta remember, a lot of these people were in that low 30s, 40s. And if you have a family, it's been a long time since anybody lived on that. So doing that raise is going to reinforce their value here to work for this county and protect the citizens within this county. So when you're contemplating that, you have to reflect on that retention, but also too, a whole bunch of us haven't lived on $30,000 or $40,000. And in today's world, that's not gonna go too far. So that would be a big pat on the back to give these guys and girls that money just to keep their head above the water with the inflation and everything else that's going on around here. So when you're contemplating this, contemplate that at that wage level, how far do you want to increase it to keep them above water?
Boils down to if we want to let the $2,080, which would be $1 an hour raise, reflect on the hiring amount.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a different discussion. You have to put that on to, raise the hiring amount.
And that part's all in our policy,
Yes.
Okay, that would be changing the policy.
Yes. So it would be a $1 an hour raise. Is that what we're talking about? No, call it a, what's the, since you do it by the month, is that right? The month
Well,
divided by 26? No,
technically-
I'm sorry, the annual divided by 26. So what it would be a $2,080 raise for each person, not talking about the hour. That way, it'll go into your regular salary and you'll divide it outright.
That's correct.
$2,080.
And then we would divide it by the 26 pay
Raise.
periods.
Okay.
If you do the 1,500, that'd be 3,580. If you do the 3,580, and our insurance increased $60, each one's in $60, so that's another $60 that they're getting, because if we pay their insurance.
We cover all of it.
Yes, ma'am. So that would be 36.40. Is that right? I mean, that's quick in my head.
That would be 36.30.
Close with it.
There you go.
So it'd be a $3,630 increase in
Benefits.
benefits. Salary and
That's
benefits.
381, 150.
Oh,
Yeah, that figure goes 381, 150.
And that would be a separate line item, but it would be divided by 26 also. 1,500. That wouldn't be inflation.
1 year inflation supplemental.
So it'd be about $80 per check on the 2,080, $57.69 per check on the 1,500. And then $30 per check because of the insurance, taking care of that insurance.
Over the total insurance, which is 10,000 something a year.
But the additional per person per month but it's 60-something.
Is it 60?
Almost 60, 59.
Yes.
57, 69.
850.
57, 69. Per check. We don't know what kind of money we got to work with. 2050.
Yeah, it'll be the 25th. When we got our estimate, it was up.
Right. That's what we got back in spring.
Yes.
The estimate of the evaluation.
Yeah.
We have to, that's what it's all about. There's right and all that. We don't just kill everybody.
Well, we pretty much, from the discussions, know we're going to do something like this. So, we'll just have to make the money fit when the time comes.
This is a definite make.
Definitely, yes, yes.
What do we need? We've got to start somewhere working our numbers, so, I think we need to.
If we can make this decision today, then it'll be much easier for us to finish putting a budget together to know where we are when we do have that figure coming.
And some of the supplement part of this, as we call it, are we looking at that coming out of, any one fund that is not completed from last year?
At the end of the year, there are usually a number of things that we budgeted for that we don't end up spending. And that just stays then in the surplus. Or in the book, fund, what do you call it?
Fund balance.
Fund balance, yes.
Fund balance.
Don't call it surplus, it's fund balance, yes.
If I looked at that right, now I might not have looked at it right, but you're not, year before last, we had, if I looked at it, we had $700,000 that we did not spend out of that budget, that we had budgeted. Is that correct?
But we budgeted all of that capital litigation money out of that fund. We didn't budget that with our normal collections. We budgeted that out of our fund. But we ended up only spending 200 and something. But that's the reason we need to have a good surplus is if you have a capital litigation murder trial or something, and other things.
We had a couple, then we had some, but then it was not, they
Yes.
changed
Yes.
the way that they,
Yes, but you know how, when we were not having the budget for that capital litigation fund, we budgeted on current revenues. All right, when we budgeted the 2 or 3 years that we budgeted this other, we looked at current revenues and current expenditures and made our budget work with that. And then we added that $1 million to be paid out of fund balance and added that to it. So it did not really affect our current budget money. We didn't go up on taxes to be able to budget for that capital litigation. And so we used about 200 and something thousand on that trial, but that came out of the fund balance. And what we didn't just remained in the fund balance, what we didn't.
but we had that in the fund balance, it's when we started. We had 700,000 when we started,
Yes,
and we only used 250.
yes.
Okay.
Actually, we budgeted $1 million each year.
Ma'am?
We budgeted $1 million
Right,
each year,
correct.
but we only spent over that time period about 270 or something.
And we gotta leave 40 in there, 40 or 50.
Yes.
Because it ain't over.
One more people.
I know when we're budgeting the sheriff's office and the jail, our budget's obviously the biggest. But we return money every year just simply because we don't keep enough employees. if I'm
And
figuring.
other offices do that too. They can.
But you're talking about a lot of money that's returned each year. It's not, it's a significant amount.
When we look at the money for this 1 year inflation amount, if we do it that way, I think that's something that, you know, can be fund balance also, if we choose to do that.
Yeah, that's 157.5.
All right, what other ideas do you have on this?
The other option is to just give them whatever we decide to give them, or go like this with so much an hour and then the supplement, whatever, however y'all want to call it. And that's the two options we have, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, either do a raise and a supplement or do a supplement only.
I'm good with whatever y'all want to do. I mean, I think either way, I mean, whatever. We need to do something.
I'm in for $1 in the supplement. That 2,000 is permanent.
And pay the insurance.
Sure. You need to cover insurance.
I'm good with that.
So the supplement would be 1,500.
Well, whatever y'all figure.
Did 1,520, it'd be a smooth $3,600 person.
Yeah. Even up money.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You think what? We need to talk about
No, I said it makes it easier to talk about.
it? To talk about, yes, okay.
Somebody says, what did your county do for you? You say, well,
3,600.
all total, we got $3,600 per employee raise. If we did it 2,080,
Let's go to
15.
the, let's go to the
Plus
insurance.
got the additional cost of
And we make
insurance
that-
covered.
That's 383, 250.
Included in it, and we'll,
What is
383, 250.
383, 250?
That's including the insurance figure.
Let's put it in there.
Yeah, I'll put that in there.
Okay.
Total bill.
hopefully things will get better. If not, we may be looking at a greater inflation supplement next time if things continue.
Sure, things will be better.
Wow,
Sure.
we'll see.
And a lot of it's just gonna depend on what appraisal values do because of the recession.
Yeah, it's gonna back off.
It's gonna back
I'm
off.
already seeing it.
You know, we're gonna-
It ain't broke, it's just getting stale.
Yeah.
Things are,
But we need that,
Moving at a
we need that
different pace.
makeup coming in, and with, I would say with the amount of activity, as far as landmen in the area, and they're not just running title in our clerk's
Right.
office, but actually approaching people
yeah.
and starting to lease things. There's a chance that there could be some additional revenue if appraisal values do go down.
That may be, at this point, if they're doing the land work, you know, that may be 2 years down the road, you know, on something like that. Seeing, you know, seeing an increase, but it's possible though.
I'm just thinking about the 18,000 people who live in this county, they're in the same shape we all are in. And we're spending
That's the tough part.
That's the tough part.
And a lot of people won't get any raises. But,
And it's like valuation to 20%, that's about what they said with that, you know, when you're talking to people, there's a lot of people went up a lot more.
A whole lot more than 20%.
So, I mean, you throw that
That's
number around kind of lightly, that doesn't really, you know, you got, it's a, and we can address that later with the rate.
and, I mean, I think though, that us addressing it, we do take it into consideration that, it may affect the tax rate. But we have to be able to provide a service.
You good?
All we do, sir.
Yeah.
We're gonna think about this. Getting closer to the 25th.
Are we still gonna have our numbers on the 25th or the 27th, even though, a lot of the protests were canceled because of COVID?
I don't know
I
that.
don't know that we'll have the,
Because some of the protests are scheduled in September. I know one, Frank, I know one for sure.
Well, all right, if the rates come down, or the values come down a little bit,
this is not gonna make or break us right here.
I don't think we're gonna change our mind about what we're
No,
gonna do.
I'm not gonna be for lowering this
No.
for employees just because
Yeah.
there's a little bit of difference from what our springtime
Figure what?
figure was.
It's gonna be more. It'll be more.
Yeah.
Don told me it'd be more.
I don't have a problem setting this in stone.
Make a motion. Need more money?
I think from hearing everybody that we know we need to do something. And we need to, I think even if the values are down, we're gonna make something work. We're gonna make it work. We have to.
Okay.
Oh, well, we can't shut the county down.
No,
We
get
cannot.
covered down.
We do have a lot of really good employees.
I'll make the motion. We do a dollar an hour raise at $1,520.
$2,080 a year raise for each employee, and $1,520 one-year inflation supplement for each employee. Is that the way you,
Pay for insurance and pay for the
and
increase.
pay for the increase in insurance?
I second his motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Anything else?
I'd just like to say thank you to all the fire departments, the sheriff's department yesterday for coming over to work. I mean, it could have been a major deal. And I mean, people came from every department in Freestone County. They came from Richland, from Retreat, Angus. Don't let me leave somebody out, Mahia. I mean, it was a big deal, and we are very fortunate to have all those guys there, and very fortunate that we didn't have a major problem in working yesterday. Because if any got past that line, it would have been in town, I think. I mean, I'm not a fire person,
It would have, with the winds that we had yesterday, it would have easily got into town and we'd be talking about a different subject. Put it that way. It'd have burned up some of the town, several homes that are occupied, so. I'm
You
glad
see
you
the
got
fire
stopped.
from here,
but, yeah.
all the way over there.
Forestry service, when they were coming in, they're 15 minutes out, they said, we can see the smoke, so. It's pretty good for a little bit, but like I said earlier, if that maintainer wasn't in there, wasn't out there, we
What
would.
caused it?
Railroad, the sparks off the train.
I had two of my guys went out there and we took the maintainer and the front end loader and I carried a truck with some water and some other things on it. And I'm just proud of the employees that I had that would go out there and do that, because one of those employees has COVID. And he's out there by himself on a motor grader. We said, nobody get around him. You know, that's his deal, and he knew what to do. He worked with a former, I think, a fire chief in Wortham, and he knew what to do, and he cut that thing around it. And I'm just thankful for the guys on their day off to go up there, and especially all the firefighters, as hot as it was. I mean, those guys were just sweating down. I mean, they were just, we took pickles around and gave them to different people and all kinds of fluids and everything we could think of, just try to help them, you know. It was a full, everybody put in and helped.
I guess it's salt in it.
Yeah, the salt and the pickle juice and the pickles will help retain
Keep
fluid.
you from
Cramping up. And the temperature yesterday, fighting that fire was 103. The temperature fighting that fire yesterday, of course, was 103.
All right, anything else?
Judge, what exactly was that motion?
That motion was for a raise for each employee in the amount of $2,080 and a one-year inflation supplement for each employee for $1,520, and to pay the increase in the health insurance for each employee.
Okay.
And that's to be paid or to be paid with your paychecks. What do you call that?
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, to be paid bi-weekly, that's the one, okay,
This will start in October.
yes.
First pay period in October.
October,
And what's that grand total?
3,600.
Even?
All right, is there anything
Plus
else?
3,600 plus insurance.
Listen.
So 3,657 plus change.
All right. If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, thank you.